From the Democratic National Convention in Chicago for the Center Square, I'm Greg Bishop, and we're joined by Illinois State Representative Bob Morgan. Representative, thanks for taking time with us today.
Thanks for having me, Greg. It's an honor.
So this is your first convention. Tell us your thoughts so far here on the final day.
Well, of course, we know what to expect from a political convention because of what we see on TV, but I certainly was not prepared for this. This has been an extraordinary experience. The energy is literally something. I've been in politics for over 25 years since I was younger. I've never been a part of anything like this. Everyone's so focused, so committed, so energized, and excited about what we're going to do here now in the next 75 days.
It's coming up pretty quick. Of course, one thing that a lot of the experts are looking from the outside is the undecideds. What are those uncommitted voters going to do when it comes to Election Day? What issues do you think are going to bring those voters over?
In some ways, I think it's the issues that really have continued to be present in politics in recent years. It's what's this going to mean for them, for their family, for their ability to pay their bills, for them to keep their jobs and have access to good health care. You know, these are really bread and butter issues. They really cross whether or not you're in the city of Chicago like we are now or you're downstate Illinois. You know, the issues that people are dealing with really are pretty consistent. And that's what I'm hearing here. I'm hearing people talk about, no matter who they are, whether it's Oprah, who everyone gets really excited about, or hearing about Governor Walz and the ways in which he's been fighting in Minnesota for everybody, regardless of their background, of those who need a little bit of extra help.
Illinois obviously being the host state, Chicago being the host city. Talk about the significance of the politics of Illinois and how that might reflect for the country as a whole when it comes to the Democratic Party.
As we were discussing earlier, Illinois is one of the most diverse states in the country, and by that, it's people from all walks of life, people who really have different experiences, different types of jobs, really significant union presence, but also just really, really large urban corporate centers, and then rural parts of the state. And so really, what I love about Chicago and the rest of the state of Illinois being showcased is we can offer something for every single state in the country. When they're thinking about who they're going to vote for, Illinois and Chicago is really going to help showcase some of the issues the Democratic Party is fighting for, even if they're not in Illinois elected.
We were talking a little bit before, recording this about the perceptions from the outside looking in, and what may be on the headlines, what may be reported about. We saw some clashes with protesters and police earlier this week, and a lot of those protesters are really upset about the conflict between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. What are your thoughts on the party? On the platform, do they take a stance on this, and where do you see that ultimately going?
On Monday, the Democratic Party passed and adopted their platform of issues. This is the most pro-Israel policy platform the Democratic Party has ever had. So I think that sends a message of kind of where we're at as a party, and as the vast, vast majority of people in the Democratic Party believe in the state of Israel's right to defend herself and to protect herself and to exist. So I think a lot of the conflicts sometimes might be elevated, but what you saw yesterday, where some of the victims' families who have close ties to Chicago, in fact, my district, the Goldberg Polans, everybody stood up. Everybody was supporting them in that moment here at the DNC, and I think that reflects where the Democratic Party is right now and where we're going to head.
Now, you've also got an interesting perspective as not just a delegate, but also a state representative. So you are able to tap into your constituency and hear their concerns. You talked a little bit about some of the economic issues, but what are some of the other things that your constituents are bringing to you on a day-to-day basis that you think could be decided in this election?
Yeah, in my district, some of the biggest issues include, again, reducing gun violence, protecting health care, and reproductive rights. But again, when we talk about the state of Illinois and the issues that we deal with, no matter where you are, economic issues are really front of mind. And so that's one of the reasons why in Illinois I helped pass the junk fee ban on the junk fees that you see on everyday issues. And you're seeing that not just in other states, but the White House pushing on those economic issues to make it just a little bit easier for those trying to get by, right? So that's the kind of thing that I'm hearing about from my constituents, which again, I don't think is unique from the north suburbs. I think you hear that throughout the country, and the Democrats have a plan to address those issues. We've been doing it. We're going to keep doing it.
Governor J.B. Pritzker addressed the audience here earlier this week. He was considered as among those to possibly be the vice presidential candidate. As somebody who's worked with the governor on a whole host of issues, what do you see his future being? Do you see him running for a third term? Do you see him possibly eyeing a higher office?
That's a great question. The governor, of course, will make that decision. I hope he sticks around. He's been a terrific governor. We started literally the same time in January of 2019. and to have been a part of what he has worked on and what we've achieved as a state legislature together has been remarkable for the state of Illinois. Both our fiscal situation is so much better. We've been pumping money into public schools that have not had the resources to support their students, who don't have the resources to have a better class size and a social worker and just an opportunity, and increase health care in every way that we possibly can. So I hope he sticks around. I'll let him make that choice, but I really do hope he continues to stick around Illinois because we could use him.
And finally, this is the final day, day 4. What's your biggest, most favorite takeaway up to this point? Of course, I know tonight you're going to see Kamala Harris accept the nomination, but is it the music? Is it meeting people? Is it just the issues? What have you been most excited about?
I've loved almost every part of it, but honestly, what struck me the most was yesterday with Governor Walz talking about his children. As a father with 2 young children, when he connected and then they panned to the camera to his 2 children and the way that he was connecting with them, how emotional they were, how proud of him they were, I thought to myself, no matter what I do in my life, if my kids are a little bit proud of me, even half as proud as that, I'm going to be okay as a dad. And that's the thing that resonated with me about who Tim Walz is. I wasn't as familiar with him before the convention. Now I know who he is, who his family thinks he is and believes in him. And I think we're going to see the same from Vice President Harris tonight.
State Representative Bob Morgan here in the state of Illinois, his home state. Greatly appreciate you taking the time with us here at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago with the Center Square.